I was excited when our dean announced that we were going on a school trip. I was dying from boredom due to the monotony of my life. My head was buried in books 24/7 and I had no friends. Even though this was my second year in college, I did not have friends. I managed to miss the first 3 months of college because I was sick. When I finally joined, everyone had already bonded and made friends. To make things worse, I had nothing in common with the students in my stream. Most of them were outgoing, good-looking, and sporty. I was nothing like that. I preferred staying in the library and reading a book, which was what I did during break time. Due to not having a social life, I had settled into a boring routine. I wanted to change things, but I did not know how. Nothing interesting ever happened at our college. I accepted that I was going to be a loner till I graduated. That was until the dean announced that our class was going on a field trip on the weekend and it was compulsory for everyone to go. We were going to be staying at one of the nicer hotels in town while attending some panels. The great part was that these panels were about subjects which I was interested in. I thought this would be a wonderful chance to meet other students from different colleges with similar interests. I had no idea that by the end of the first day, I would already want to go home. It started when I found out that we were going to be having shared rooms. I did not mind the idea, hoping that if I had a roommate, I would be able to make a friend. Our lecturer paired everyone up, and as luck would have it, we were an odd number. He then said I would either have the option of getting a room just by myself or joining another pair. All the guys groaned when he said that. They said they did not want to be crowded. My professor gave me a sympathetic look but said, "At least you don't have to worry about a roommate that snores," and winked. Everyone burst out laughing at his joke while I tried my hardest to smile. It could not be that bad. The next afternoon we were going to attend the first panel. It would be so much fun and I would meet new people, so I did not protest getting a room on my own. I got my keys and went to the room. When I saw how it looked, I wanted to cry. The room was absolutely beautiful. It had a very big bed and a beautiful view of the outside. In addition to that, it had two of everything. When I checked the bathroom, my suspicions were right. This was a room for a couple. I figured that they ran out of rooms and booked me into this one. It was ironic considering how alone I truly was. That was the last straw. I felt the tears filling up my eyes and I knew there was nothing that could help now. Why did I even try to be integrated into society when I was just a nobody? Nobody saw me or acknowledged me. Everyone was so happy without me and did not acknowledge me. The knowledge of that was not easy to deal with. I accepted I was probably going to die alone and threw myself on the bed. The tears kept coming till there was nothing left. Why this sudden was I feeling everything anew? I couldn't tell. But it was here, and I was dealing with it, or at least trying to deal with it. A while later, I realized that I had not gone down for dinner. I sent a message to my professor claiming that I was not hungry. I decided to unpack my clothes while listening to my favorite music artist as I stewed over my situation. Several hours later. It was late in the night when I decided to go and take a walk. The gardens around the hotel looked very peaceful at night. Being in that room alone was suffocating. Maybe I would get in trouble for leaving my room, but so what? All I had done until now was to exist and get ignored for it. No one would even notice that I was gone. With that thought to comfort me, I was out of the room in seconds. I put some music on, went down to the gardens, and started walking. I enjoyed the soft breeze in my hair as well as the interesting smells in the air. I could smell some Italian food nearby, which made me remember how hungry I was. I found myself leaving the garden and following the scent. I was not surprised that a place was open at this hour because this city never slept. I managed to get myself food to go and was now heading back to the hotel when someone rushed into me and nearly tackled me to the ground. It was a man, and he was speaking very incoherently. His eyes were wide in panic and he looked exhausted. For a moment, fear struck me. I was convinced I'd run into some criminal who wanted to rob me. "I have nothing but this food. Take it from me and please leave me alone. I'm just a poor student," I begged desperately. The man looked at me in confusion and immediately stopped talking. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, then spoke more calmly. "I am so sorry for scaring you. I saw your hoodie and I thought you would be the right person to help me. I am in trouble right now and I really need a place to hide," he said more slowly. Despite how hard he was trying to calm down, his eyes were darting back and forth. When I checked which hoodie I was wearing, I understood it was my pride hoodie. "What kind of trouble are you in? Are you part of the queer community?" I asked. He nodded when I said that. He tried to speak again, but he stopped suddenly. It appeared he was having a panic attack. I knew I had to act fast at that moment. From the information he gave me, I could tell he was running away from someone, was queer, and in a lot of danger. That was enough for me to take the split decision to help him. "Okay, I have somewhere to hide you, but you will need to keep very quiet," I said to him as I took his hand. "Thank you so much, you are saving my life," he exclaimed gratefully. Without another word, I led him back to the hotel. He looked young, so the front desk did not question me when I brought him up. They probably thought we were classmates. Once we made it into my room, I got him a glass of water, then I sat him down. I watched him finish the glass of water and fall back on my bed. My heart tugged at how tired he must have been. His shoes looked worn out, making it seem like he had been walking and running all day. I allowed him to take a bit of a breather while I warmed up the food. "Eat," I said to him as I handed him a plate of food. He thanked me and dug into the food. We ate without another word while my head was spinning. I couldn't believe that my walk turned into me bringing this strange guy to my room. He could have been a serial killer, yet I trusted him. Maybe it was because he saw me after everyone had been ignoring me all day. Yes, that had to be it. After we finished eating, I got to questioning. "Who are you and what is going on? Do you need me to call the cops for you?" I started questioning him. "My name is Liam. I am 23. I was supposed to be getting married to my fiancée, but I left her at the altar." He stopped and waited a few seconds before picking up again. "I could not lie to myself and marry a woman when I was not attracted to her. I decided to stay true to my sexuality. When I ran away from the wedding, her brothers and dad came after me. Their family can be very crazy." It took a while for me to digest what he was saying. He was a runaway groom? This was not how I planned my night to go. "What the hell? They cannot force you to marry someone that you do not love, though. Why did you not call the cops on them?" I stopped and decided that I could not ambush him like that. I took a breath, sighed, and then looked at Liam a little carefully. "You can call me Eric. How are you feeling?" I asked. "Everyone is in their pockets because they are very corrupt, unfortunately," he responded sadly. I sat there for a while and mulled over the information. This whole story was blowing my mind. It also made me so angry. I could not believe that in this modern era there were still people who forced others to get married. It made it worse that his fiance's family did not respect his choice. "I am so sorry that this has happened to you. It must have been a long day. Why don't you take a shower and rest? I do not mind you spending the night here," I said, a little too awkwardly for my liking. Liam looked up at me with the most tearful face ever. He started crying as he said, "I am so thankful that I ran into such a good person like you. Thank you for risking it for me. I'm making a plan to leave the country, but I need to get in touch with my cousin. Can I charge my phone?" He asked and showed me his phone. I nodded at him. "Of course you can. Anything you need, let me make sure the water is hot for you," I informed him. Afterward, I took his hand and squeezed it, just to let him know that I was there for him. The next morning, I woke up to the sun shining brightly through the window. I stretched out, but my hand hit something. When I checked, I realized I had accidentally hit Liam on the forehead. Liam stirred just for a second, and then he went back to sleep. In the morning light, I was able to study his features. He had such an angelic face. All I wanted to do was give him a hug. I could just imagine how he was feeling after being in the closet for so long. He must have been so scared after he ran away from his wedding. I felt a need to protect him and ensure that nothing terrible happened to him. I swore to myself that I would do everything in my power to help him no matter what. He told me that his cousin was going to get back to him later on that day, so I told him he can stay till then. I didn't want to disturb Liam's sleep, so I wrote a note telling him I was going to get us breakfast. Afterward, I went downstairs to the breakfast buffet. I got as much food as possible, then went back up. When I got back up, Liam was already awake and could not stop thanking me. He told me that I was practically his savior. When he found me, his phone had just died and he had just run away from his bride's brother a few blocks over. Liam was pretty certain that he was about to get caught and feared what would happen to him then. I told Liam that I would make sure that he was okay until he found a way out. Having done so, I let him know that I was going to be going to a panel later that afternoon. I would have preferred it if he were still there when I came back. Liam told me that his cousin was only going to reach him later that night, so he would still be there. I didn't want him to be bored, so I gave him some of my books to read. I figured that is what you do when you have a guest, right? I was ready and out of there in minutes. The panel went very well, but my mind kept on drifting back to Liam. I was extremely worried about him and hoped that he would escape. The panel ended around 5 p.m., and then we went back to the hotel. We had another discussion session for an hour before it was dinner time. I kept on trying to find a way to sneak out and give Liam some food, but it was impossible. On this specific day, my professor kept calling me for help. I could not refuse because it would be suspicious, so I helped him. Finally, I got a chance to sneak away. As soon as I opened the door, I apologized to Liam for making him wait so long. He was in a much better mood than the previous night. Liam told me that he did not mind at all and that he had a very peaceful day. It was actually nice to have a peaceful day where I could read and not think about the sham of my life. He stopped and waved the book at me with a smile in tow. I can't remember the last time I just sat down and read. I wasn't sure if the books I left for you were to your liking. I hope that you enjoyed them, I responded shyly. You have great taste. Life of Pi is one of my favorite books. I haven't read it in quite a long time. I was actually getting to the best part when you came in. Liam showed me the open pages again. I laughed nervously and uttered, "Sorry for interrupting you." I don't mind you interrupting me. I'm glad that you're back. How was the panel? He asked me. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm just very tired right now. I brought you some food since you must be starving, I responded as I handed the food to him. Liam got off the bed and went to sit on one of the chairs. I went to sit across from him and watched as he ate. He dug into the food and was done within minutes. Thank you so much. Your kindness is unlike any I've ever received. This is the first time I've ever felt safe in a while, he said softly as he looked down. Can I ask you a question? I asked. He nodded for me to continue, so I went forth with my question. I wanted to know where your family is in all of this. You mentioned your cousin, but not your parents. He stayed silent for a bit before answering. My parents have known that I'm gay for years. I thought they accepted me, but one day they told me they found the perfect match for me. Imagine my surprise when I found out that it was a girl. Not just any girl, but one who belongs to a very wealthy family. They basically tried to marry me off for money. His expression turned sad as he told me about his family. I cannot imagine what you're going through right now. I'm so sorry. It can be so difficult when your family doesn't support you. You're right. It is difficult. I was going through with this because I had no choice, but when I met the woman that I was going to get married to, I started to change my mind. She is not a good woman. Just imagining spending the rest of my life with her feels like hell. I would rather lose everything than be with her. Much scarier being alone with no one? I asked. Have you ever been in a relationship that was toxic? Would you not want to leave it? He asked me. I have not been in any relationship. I guess I do not really understand what you went through, I said as I looked down shamefully. Liam held my hand and traced the circles on it. I found it ticklish, so I laughed. Sorry, I wanted to reassure you, but my hand started doing that, he chuckled. I'm just not used to being touched. You do not need to be sorry, I assured him. I just wanted to let you know that you do not have to be sorry. You have been very sympathetic and understanding towards me. It means the world to me, Liam said warmly. I would have done this for anyone. I know what it is like to live in a world that does not acknowledge you. In fact, I live it every day, I found myself opening up. Wow, I guess one should never judge a book by its cover. You seem so likable and fun to be around, Liam said. I sadly shook my head at him. All my classmates avoid me. I do not really have any friends besides these books. It's not so bad. You can actually get away with a lot when no one sees you. Well, I see you, he declared while making eye contact with me. I felt warmth spread through my heart at his words. Maybe it was the moment or how starved I was for kind words, but those words touched me. I knew I was going to cherish them for a very long time. Liam and I continued to talk for a few more hours. We talked about the most random and interesting things. I have not talked to a person for that long before. I always used to think I was boring and had nothing to say until I met him. Liam was a bookworm just like me, so when we started talking about books, we did not stop. We had so much in common that all I wanted to do was ask him about what he thought about certain characters in books. I was enjoying myself and not feeling time passing us by until Liam got a phone call. It was his cousin calling, so I decided to go to the bathroom and give him privacy. I needed to get out of my formal clothes anyway. A couple of minutes later, I went back into the room. Liam was sitting there with his head on his hands, shaking. "Hey, what is wrong?" I asked him. "My cousin's contact cannot get me the things that I need right now. I left my passport at home and I can't get to it. I have to wait until tomorrow night. Only then he can get me a new passport," Liam explained. "Then you stay with me until then, since I'm leaving in the evening. Do you think that he can get it for you by tomorrow?" I asked hopefully. "Maybe, but I must go. It will not be long before those people find me. I really do not want to bring trouble to you. You have done more than enough for me," he responded. I waved his worries away. "Oh, stop, you're not going anywhere. I would never be able to forgive myself if something happened to you. You're safe here. No one knows that you are here," I reassured him. "Thank you so much." He cracked a smile. "Don't even mention it. Would you like to watch a movie with me?" I suggested to change the topic. "Of course I would love to. There's this movie that came out last week. I've been dying to watch it," he said excitedly. "Well then, let us do so. I have some candy from early on. We could nibble on it while we watch," I said as I got hold of the remote. After setting up the movie, I went to lie next to him on the bed. It was a comedy, so we laughed a lot. Sometimes we would pause and discuss the scenes. I never felt such euphoria before. The joy that came with just being in the company of someone was unimaginable. I had missed this so much. The last time I felt like this, I was in high school. Right after high school, I got sick and needed to take some time off school. By the time I joined uni, everyone had already settled into their friend groups. I was still feeling raw from the treatment, therefore, I did not socialize. By the time I tried to, no one really gave me a chance. I ended up opening up about this to Liam. It was after the movie had ended, and we were just talking about our childhood. It was an accident to open up to him, but I did not regret it. As usual, Liam had encouraging words for me. "Honestly, I think you're a very cool person. Anyone who does not give you a chance is missing out. I've had a wonderful time with you this weekend. I've not once thought about my problems in the last hour," Liam assured me. "Your words mean a lot to me," I grinned. I took his hand in mine and smiled. Now we were lying next to each other, looking into each other's eyes. I could not deny that I found him cute from day one. He had a really pretty face. Something about him made me want to protect him. I had a question for him as I was shy to ask. After debating with myself for a while, I decided to. "Have you ever had a boyfriend?" I asked. "No. Crushes, though. Lots of them. I was always too shy to ask them out," he revealed. "Why? You are good looking," I asked, surprised. Liam chuckled and said, "Do you really think I'm good looking?" "Yes, I do. Hence, I am surprised as to why you don't have a boyfriend. You're not like me, who's super nerdy and basic," I explained. Now, stop calling yourself basic," he scolded me. "I am, though. I've never had a relationship that was not long distance. I was too shy to ask people out in person." "Well, I think you are very cute. Anyone would be lucky if you asked them out." His voice dropped a few octaves. It was suddenly so sensual. I could not describe this thing he did with his voice sometimes. I felt my cheeks heating up as I imagined what it would be like to kiss him. I decided to stop myself from thinking like that. He would never dream about kissing me. Unfortunately, my mind had already gone elsewhere. I was looking at his lips and imagining how he would feel. Suddenly, I felt that our proximity was too much. He was exuding an aura that I was unable to shield myself against. "What are you thinking?" he asked again in that teasing tone of his. "You don't have to worry about that," I tried to play it off. Maybe I would like to know. Have I done something wrong? You're staring at me rather intensely." His eyes lowered and then looked at my lips. "There is no point in what I'm thinking. After all, we probably won't see each other after tonight," I said nonchalantly. "Then why don't we make the best of it?" he suggested. I was at a loss of words. Was Liam really suggesting what I thought he was? There was only one way to find out. I braced myself as I leaned in closer to him. To my surprise, he did not lean back. Instead, he leaned forward and kissed me back. It was a short but sweet kiss. When he backed away, I was blushing. "I've been wondering when you'd finally do that," he whispered. "I wanted to, but I didn't know if it would be appropriate," I responded. "Well, since we only have this night, I think that was the best choice you made, he replied with a bright smile. Then I guess we better make the best of tonight, I suggested. His lips slowly turned up. Good, I really need a distraction. Tomorrow's probably going to be very difficult for me. So I compiled and made sure that he thought of nothing else for the rest of the night. The next morning, we were eating breakfast when shit hit the fan. An unknown woman burst through the main gate screeching. She was ordering a group of men around and telling them to search every nook and cranny. Obviously, we were shocked. We had no idea who she was and what she wanted. Everything was chaos until the hotel managers came out and started talking to her. Obviously, I was interested in the drama. I made sure to walk close by and listen to what they were saying. My husband-to-be has been missing for 3 days. My people tell me that he might be here. He was caught on security cameras near this place. I need to check, she said harshly. Ma'am, unless you have a warrant, there is nothing for you here. You cannot be disrupting our guests like this, the hotel manager politely replied. I froze as I realized who she was. I did not know how this happened, but they had found Liam. We were so stupid to think that he was undetectable here. If they somehow got permission to look through all the rooms, they would find him. Both of us would be in so much trouble. We had about an hour to check out. In that time, I had planned to say goodbye to him and see to it that he got to his cousin safe. Now, it did not look like he was never going to make it there. I finished eating my breakfast and excused myself. I told my lecturer that I left something upstairs. He told me I could fetch it on later. But I insisted. I ran extremely fast until I got to the room. Liam, your fiancée is downstairs and she's trying to get permission to search all of the rooms. You need to get the hell out of here. The words were out of my mouth as soon as I closed the door behind me. I know. I saw her car outside. I've already contacted my cousin. He will be here in a couple of minutes. I just need a hoodie, he said. Okay, no problem. Wear this, I said as I took off my hoodie and gave it to him. It was one with my school emblem. Anyone seeing him to think that he was me or someone from that school. He accepted it and quickly put it on. Afterward, there were a couple of moments of silence as we looked at each other. He broke the silence by saying, Just wanted to thank you for this weekend. You were more kind to me than you needed to be. I will never forget this, and trust me, this is not the last time you will see me. My heart was in my throat, but I knew better than to spill my feelings all over the place. Thank you for this weekend as well. Thanks to you, I did not feel alone. You have no idea what you have done for me as well, I said to him. The next thing I knew, he pulled me into a tight embrace. I cannot describe the warmth that I felt. It was one I've not felt for a while. His phone then pinged. I have to go, but this isn't the last you see of me. Goodbye, Eric. He kissed me and then he left. I was left there standing with a smile on my face. I wasn't sure if the entire weekend had been a dream or not. By the time I went downstairs, she had gotten permission to search all the rooms. Of course, she did not find him. We left while she was still searching. The whole drive, I could not even read a book. All I could do was replay the past weekend. Well, you must have really enjoyed the panels. You seem very happy today, the professor remarked. Yes, something like that, I responded joyfully. 3 months later. 3 months had passed, just like that. In those 3 months, I had nothing to do but go over those memories over and over again and deal with the boredom that was my life. Truly, it was almost like I had based my entire personality on just that weekend, which wasn't a very flattering thing, but it was what it was. And in turn, it also meant that I was waiting for Liam, desperately. And now, here I was, lost in yet another book when my phone suddenly rang. I was expecting a call about a delivery that I was expecting, so I answered absent-mindedly. Hello, stranger. It's been a while, a voice I never thought I'd hear again said. The entire world stopped for a while as I tried to process my shock. Liam, you're alive, I exclaimed. Yes, I am. I told you I'd find you, didn't I? How do you feel about spending the summer in Europe? He asked, a smile in his question. Wait, but what happened with your fiancé? I asked. I am living with my uncle right now. My father is extremely scared of him. He would never tell Priscilla where I am. I probably can't come back to the country for a while, but I'm happy this side, he told me. I had so many questions which I proceeded to ask him. I had been unable to stop thinking about him over the past 3 months. Every time I felt sad or lonely, I would think about that weekend. Thoughts of him would bring me comfort, but it would remind me that once there was a person who actually loved being in my company. I toyed with the idea of us meeting again one day, but I was also realistic. That could have been once in a lifetime thing, and it was fine. Meeting him was just a reminder that there was some people out there in the world who I could connect with. But now, here it was. You are going to have to tell me everything. I have been so worried about you, I carried on the conversation. Of course I'm going to. We just need to get you all the way here, he responded happily. I would definitely love to come there. I have never been out of the country, I confessed. Well then, you have the perfect tour guide, he said cheerfully. His voice was so much happier than that weekend. I was happy that he managed to get away from that terrible bridezilla. I was also looking forward to touching base with him again. Maybe we would get a chance to explore our romance further. Maybe I wouldn't have to spend the rest of my life alone after all. I got permission from my parents to spend the summer with him in Europe. His life was completely different from mine. We did so many fun things that I had only read about. In addition to that, we bonded on a deeper level and decided to give seeing each other a shot. It's still long distance, so we are taking things slow. The end. What would you do if you were in Eric's position? Would you help him? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force. And stay wholesome.